The exchange was agreed upon by President Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin during peace talks in Paris earlier this month. By Yulia Telmazin. A prisoner swap between the Ukrainian government and Russian-backed separatist forces in the country's east was underway Sunday in the latest sign of efforts to ease tensions between the two warring sides. The exchange was agreed upon by President Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin during peace talks in Paris earlier this month. The negotiations did not result in a peace deal to end the deadly 5-year military conflict, but the two parties committed to further talks and a prisoner exchange before the year is out. The swap was expected to see Ukraine hand over 87 separatists in exchange for 55 pro-government Ukrainians. Armed troops from both sides looked on as buses arrived at the swap site, a checkpoint near the industrial town of Horlivka in the Donetsk region. The last major prisoner exchange between separatist rebels and Ukrainian forces took place in December 2017, with 233 rebels exchanged for 73 Ukrainians. Sunday's swap comes several months after a direct prisoner exchange between Ukraine and Russia in September. That saw 24 Ukrainian sailors detained by Russia in a naval confrontation in late 2018 freed, among others. The swap was considered a major victory for Zelensky, who made the return of the sailors one of his election promises. The Ukrainian leader, who was a comedian without any political experience before he took office earlier this year, was thrust into the international spotlight following a phone conversation with President Donald Trump in July. The call has become the focal point of an impeachment inquiry in the U.S. We'll see Trump face a Senate trial after being impeached by the House earlier this month. The saga has dominated Washington politics, and been a distraction for Zelensky as he juggles peace negotiations with efforts to revive the country's struggling economy and tackle rampant corruption. Eastern Ukraine has been ravaged by years of war between government forces and separatists backed by Russia, sparked in the aftermath of the 2014 mass protests in Kyiv. The talks in Paris earlier this month renewed hopes for a resolution to the conflict, which has claimed more than 13,000 lives. The United States has backed Ukraine throughout the conflict, fearing Putin's efforts to extend Moscow's geopolitical influence. It has also heavily sanctioned Russia for its military intervention in the annexation of Crimea. Trump's decision to put a temporary hold on U.S. military aid, a central issue in the impeachment process, has raised concerns it could undermine Ukraine's efforts to contain Russian aggression. Zelensky campaigned on ending the conflict, which is ongoing despite a ceasefire signed in 2015. He has taken a number of steps toward peace since coming into power, culminating in his face-to-face talks with Putin in Paris. He has faced some opposition at home for what some have dubbed the capitulation to Russia. However, a recent poll showed 75% of Ukrainians support his talks with Putin to resolve the conflict.